Meanwhile, Facts4EU's latest analysis also underlines the Brexit minister's point that the French president is breaking the terms of very treaty on which the European Union is based with his various antagonistic remarks. Mr. Macron stoked tensions on Saturday on the eve of the start of COP26 in Glasgow with a series of caustic criticisms related to the denial of dozens of licenses for French fishing vessels seeking to operate in UK waters. He told the Financial Times, "Make no mistake, it is not just for the Europeans but all of their partners. Because when you spend years negotiating a treaty and then a few months later you do the opposite of what was decided on the aspects that suit you the least, it is not a big sign of your credibility." Lord Frost swiftly hit back, suggesting Mr. Macron should practice what he preached, and warned, French rhetoric and threats risked a breach by the EU of its treaty obligations. The Treaty of the European Union, signed in 1992, also known as the Maastricht Treaty, effectively binds the member states together as a cohesive bloc. It also formally established its various institutions, including the European Commission headed up by President Ursula von der Leyen, and the European Council led by President Charles Michel. Facts4EU spokesman David Evans said, "The Treaty of the European Union is the pillar on which the EU empire is built. In stark contrast to the EU's proclamations about treaties with the UK being set in stone and non-negotiable, the EU has renegotiated and replaced its own treaty many times over the years. Article 8, Mr. Evans pointed out, states, the Union shall develop a special relationship with neighbouring countries, aiming to establish an area of prosperity and good neighbourliness, founded on the values of the Union and characterised by close and peaceful relations based on cooperation." Given the EU Commission had made no claim against the UK in its management of fishing rights, and given that the UK had in fact been extremely generous in its interpretation of the clauses in regard to fishing licenses, French threats related to restrictions on UK imports to France and cutting off Jersey's electricity supply were in clear violation of Article 8, Mr. Evans suggested. He added, meanwhile Brexit Britain's Bulldog Frost fires a broadside at France, rebutting their claims. The French President Emmanuel Macron is beginning to learn that the days of a timid, acquiescent, and appeasing United Kingdom of the type the EU encountered when Theresa May was Prime Minister are long gone. In its place was a more assured, independent, and powerful country, acting with considerable restraint, but prepared to stand up for its rights in the face of what Mr. Evans called sustained aggression from its nearest neighbour and the empire of which that country is part. Mr. Evans explained, one of the supreme ironies of France's trumped-up fishing dispute with the UK is that British fishermen were on the receiving end of a stinker of a deal when the withdrawal agreement and the subsequent trade and cooperation agreement were signed. Facts4EU.org reported the details at the time, and when British fishermen say they were sold down the river and sacrificed for other interests, we believe they have a very strong case. This of course makes it all the more astonishing that the French government now has the gall to act aggressively, make false accusations, and issue egregious threats against the United Kingdom. He stressed, the United Kingdom has a pedigree when it comes to standing up to bullies. History teaches us that there is only way to deal with a bully, and that is to stand one's ground. Give way, as Theresa May did on almost everything, and the EU and France will take it and demand more. For just that reason, UK Prime Minister Boris must under no circumstances placate France's concocted temper tantrum, by granting licenses to the small number of French boats which did not appear ever to have fished in UK waters before. Mr. Evans said, the French have already been granted more UK fishing licenses than the rest of the continental EU countries combined. The UK has gone above and beyond in its generosity. As they say in France, ca suffit, enough is enough. This affair does no credit to the proud country of France. Speaking on Saturday, Lord Frost said, "We have been in talks with the EU Commission for weeks on fisheries licensing and have granted 98% of applications. We do so in good faith and are fully delivering on our TCA obligation, to license vessels which can prove they have actually fished previously in our 6 to 12 nanometers limit." Referring to France's PM, he added, "That is why we are concerned and surprised by the comments seemingly made by Jean Castex to Ursula von der Leyen that, it is indispensable to show European public opinion that it causes more damage to leave the EU than to stay in." I hope this opinion is not held more widely across the EU.